Today is December 31st of 2025. I'm sorry, 2024. And actually woke up this morning and wrote down 10 things that I've learned this year and 10 changes that I've made in my life. And I just want to talk about them. So let's begin. Okay, number one is draw daily and draw every day. That is the first lesson. So I used to struggle with finding a consistent art practice and an art routine. I used to draw daily in seasons. I used to do this challenge called 100 Days Sketching every year. And but remainder of the year, I don't have any strict practice. I just draw whenever I feel like it. But the thing was, I'll be very productive with my art during those 100 days, and I'll be making a lot of art, and I'll be really improving fast. But the problem with that was, the remainder of the year, I was just very unproductive. And I was wondering, why is that? Why was I very unproductive? And the thing was, I just needed a practice, especially a daily creative practice. And a practice is actually something that you don't do for other people. A practice is not performance. There are two kinds of practices. One is a practice with an S, and another one is practice with a C. A practice with an S is doing repetitions to get good at something. A practice with a C is basically a thing that you do that is a container for your art. People say, I have a yoga practice, I have a medical practice, I have an art practice. Just like that, you have a practice and you see it from that perspective. And the way you see it from that perspective and how you sort of put that into real life is by doing it daily, having a daily practice, even if it's just 10 minutes a day. And that's the thing that I've first learned and the thing that I've changed. I just draw every day for at least 10 minutes, right? Just do that and do it first thing in the morning, especially when you have a day job and when you have other priorities in life. Definitely, without a doubt, do it first thing in the morning. Right now, I just do it first thing as part of my work day because I have the luxury, because I'm a full-time artist, right? But if I was doing something else, I would just do it first thing in the day. But that is the first lesson, which is draw daily and have an art practice. Because every day is an opportunity for you to make something, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. Because, man, we might not be alive tomorrow or next year. We'll never know. The second lesson I've learned and changed this 2024 is do fewer things and do them well, which is don't be a donkey, my friend. Meaning being a donkey is a person who actually goes on and chases every single thing that is shiny in front of them and does multiple things at the same time. And in the end, ends up doing nothing. I used to be that person. I still am that person. I'm a recovering donkey. So, right. So the thing is, you don't want to do many things at the same time. You can do a lot of things in a given year, but you don't want to do them at the same time. And if you try to do them at the same time, what has actually happened for me especially is I just end up doing nothing well. And most of the time, I end up not doing the main thing that I was actually doing. And as part of that, and then as part of that, what I've actually changed in my life is just have 3 work things that I want to make sure I've gotten done by the end of the year, and 3 personal things that I want to make sure that I've gotten done by the end of the year. If just these 3 things were achieved, my year would be satisfying. What are those 3 things? And I'm using those as yearly compass, yearly directions. It's not so strict and set in stone, but I use that as a direction for my life. And that is the first change that I've done. Here's the thing. People share these lessons. I used to share these lessons as well. And I thought I've learned these lessons, right? But to be honest, I just knew about these lessons. I just knew that these things existed. And I've learned that I've not truly learned a lesson until I've changed my behavior in my life. If I've not changed the behavior, then I have truly not learned the lesson. It's just a piece of information that I know. It is not a learning. And that is the biggest difference. So that's why I'm sharing these things. Plus, I'm actually also at the same time giving you the thing that I've done, I've changed in my life, right? So that is the thing. Do fewer things and do them well. 3 to 5 things, man. That's it. 3 to 5 things, 3 to 6 things, personal stuff. Throughout the end of the year, you ask yourself, what is the one thing if I've done? No, you ask yourself, what is the one thing if done by the end of the year would make everything else easier or unnecessary and make my year completely satisfied? What is that one thing? And then you write that down. And you do that 3 times for your work front and 3 times for your personal front. And then you know your priorities. And trust me, oh holy crap, here's the thing under this, which is, if you chase multiple things, if you want multiple things, if you desire to do a lot of things, do know that the main thing that you actually want to do will suffer, and most of the times it will not be done. It will not be done. So always do first things first and second things second. Don't procrastinate by doing second things. No, don't procrastinate on first things by doing second things. That's not a good idea. It's very, very bad. Do first things first, and you're probably scared of doing the first thing because it's very hard and it's a very complex thing. And the good thing about things is the good thing about doing hard things especially is, it's worth it. It's the thing that's worth it. The easy things are not that worth it. You'll be happy you've done it, but yeah. That's the thing. So third lesson is to work in 6-week cycles or 6-week seasons, as I like to call it. So I used to set these very large and audacious New Year's resolutions at the start of every year, and I end up not achieving them by the end of the year. And used to be a trend, but there were some years where I did achieve some of my goals, and it's a good year. But most of the time, nothing gets achieved. And the problem was I was planning too ahead into the future, and it was not helping me. I was planning for things that I could not control later on, because there are so many factors that shows up that you cannot assume at the start of your planning stages. And life changes, things changes, interests change, and the moment you start a big project, you come to know about a lot of things, and you realize that maybe this is not the way it should be done, and then you need to change the way things should be done. That's why I like this thing from Jeff Bezos. He says you have to be very, very stubborn with your vision, but you need to be flexible with the way you get there. And that's very, very important. Someone is at the door. You might have heard the calling bell. So, and the way you do that is by actually not setting very strict and rigid New Year's resolutions. What I have is what I call yearly directions. This is this is my compass in life. I have these 3 to 6 things, like I told you before, right? 3 things that I would be very satisfied having done in a given year. Those things are not set in stone. They are flexible. They're giving me a direction, like in a ship has a direction. It's not exactly tilted towards a particular angle. Again, someone's at the door and no one's attending the door. So the ship is pointed towards in a particular direction. And no, the ship is usually pointed in a direction. It's not the exact direction. It's just a direction. And they will go to the shore, near the shore, when they see the harbor, and then they make very specific course corrections. It's very hard for you to make the exact course correction 200 miles out into the sea. Right? Only when you get close to the harbor, you see stuff and you see things more clearly. And then you make very specific course corrections in order to reach the harbor and dock your ship. Right? So that's what I'm doing. The way I do it is I have a yearly direction which acts as a compass for my life. And then I have these quarterly quests, which is what are like 1 to 3 things that I want to achieve at the end of the quarter, like 1 to 3 things. If I don't do anything else, this is how I'm thinking. If I don't do anything else, if I've just achieved these things, it'll be a worthy quarter. What would that be? What would that look like? And then I would just write those things down, and then we work in 6-week cycles. 6-week cycles is a thing that I learned from this company named Basecamp. And Basecamp is a software company that is pretty creative, if you ask me, because the way they create softwares is a pretty creative endeavor. And they work in 6-week cycles. Even the largest projects that they do, they sort of contain that down to a small 6-week cycle and ask themselves, what can be done in 6 weeks? What meaningful thing can be done in 6 weeks? And I looked at that and I was like, man, If they are doing it, we should definitely do it in my studio and in my personal life as well. And it just changed every single freaking thing. I'm very, very, very focused. I'm much focused than before, and I'm less anxious. Plus, I'm able to look back and review my life more often than not just once a year. If you said like New Year's resolution, I do it like 8 times a year, right? Because there are 4 quarters, 8 6-week cycles, and then I just review the thing, what I've done for that given cycle, and then move on to the next cycle, and then the next one, and then the next one. And it gives you a faster feedback loop and a faster learning process. You don't have to wait till December 31st of a year in order to know what you're doing wrong. You can just learn it in 6 weeks. The beautiful thing about 6 weeks is that you can do a lot of meaningful things in 6 weeks. 6 weeks is pretty long, if you ask me. I thought it was short. It looks short, but it's not short at all. It's 48 days. 6 7 42. I'm sorry, math. 42 days is what 6 weeks is. And man, you can do a lot of things in that. Maybe not a lot of things. You can actually do 1 to 2 things really, really well in 6 weeks. And I identify 1 to 2 things that I want to do for work and 1 to 2 things that I want to do for, my personal life. And I would just go at the that's how you do it. 1 is best, if you ask me. 1 is best. And another thing that I want to sort of iterate based on what I previously said is this, which is you want to do your first things first, second things second. I had this tendency of actually doing the easier things first, and that's a bad freaking idea. You want to do your first things first in your 6-week cycles. Do not distract yourself. Make sure you do the main thing that you need to do for the 6 weeks, and you do that. And at the end of the 6 weeks, you sit down and you review what you've done, and then you go on to the next 6 weeks. Basically, we only schedule work for 5 weeks of the last 6 weeks, so that the last week can be like catching up on the thing and making sure we have done the things that we need to do. And also at the same time, we also review and plan for the next 6 weeks. And man, this has been one of the biggest life-changing moves that I've done in the past year, and it's quite honestly changed my life. The next learning is this, which is routines and systems will save your life. So that means have one. Yeah. I'm a big fan of daily routines, or having some sort of routines that work for you. The thing is, you need to have flexible routines. I used to have these very strict daily routines, that things that needs to be done on time. What actually has worked for me is have a sequence. Basically, you don't have strict times. You basically have, hey, I wake up and then I work out and then I go to work and then I eat lunch and then do more work and then I finish off my day and then things go, and all you need to control in that part is just your wake up time. If you just wake up on a very similar time. Right now, I'm very bad at it. That's why it's a lesson that I know, which is wake up early, but I'm not following it. Actually, I'm sleeping very late at night, like 2:30 in the morning. Plus, also it's the holidays. I'm taking some rest, but not a good thing though. Not a good thing. I need to fix that, and I've done some things to fix that, and I'll share that maybe later on. But it's not a thing that I've changed, to be honest. So you just have some sort of routines and systems in your life, and especially systems such as having a weekly review or having a bi-weekly review, having a 6-week planning process, having a quarterly quest, having a simple document which just keeps track of all your goals, having a simple document in Google Docs, which is another thing that I've started to do, which is like I used to use Notion. I still use Notion, but not that much actually, because Notion right now just feels a bit complicated for this season and this part of my life. What I'm doing is I'm just maintaining this one single page Google Docs on my personal email, and then it's like one is called a life tracker, where I just track all my goals, what's been happening, what is happening, what's going well, what's not going well. And then I have this workout journal, where whenever I work out, I write down, okay, what have I done well in that workout? What did I learn? So that I can do the next workout much better. I've started to treat my workout as a practice as well, something that I do for myself, where I learn something, right? Man, treating everything as a practice is so awesome, right? Meaning you just do stuff for yourself. That's the whole idea of a practice. Having a practice means you do stuff for yourself, and it just rejuvenates the life that you have. It's so enthusiastic. I just feel like awesome. right? So that is the fourth thing, which is have daily routines and systems that will save your life. And for me, I'm doing a bunch of things in that. And that is actually the fifth lesson, which is 3-hour workdays. 3-hour workdays are awesome, meaning your workday just lasts 3 freaking hours. The way I do it, by the way, it's not like 3 hours of just being at work. I'm talking 3 hours of doing deep, focused, undistracted work. And I do it in 90-minute blocks. And I don't do the whole 90 minutes. I do two 90 minutes, or try to do two 90 minutes. Very hard, by the way. I try to do two 90-minute blocks. And within that 90-minute block, I take one thing and I try to focus on that one thing and I get that thing done. And the way I do it is I do a 45-minute block, take 5 to 10 minutes of rest, and then do another 45 minutes. And if I do that, it's 90 minutes. And then I take a couple of hours a day. The Indian in me just came out. I take a couple of hours of rest, and then at the end of the day, I do another 90 minutes. I'm sorry, just had to do that. I love you all, my fellow Indians. Don't you take things personally. It's a joke. It's a freaking joke. We're allowed to joke about each other. We all Indians are my brothers and sisters, and I make fun of my brothers and sisters. Feel free to make fun of me. Look at me. I look like an idiot early in the morning. So yeah. So that is the thing. 3-hour work days is extremely good. And then approximately having another 30 minutes to an hour of management, because I do run a team. I have a team, I have a studio, and getting in touch with them. And then, following up on things really, really helps too. But to be honest, I've not done that. I'm not doing that properly just yet. But I am doing the 90-minute blocks and 3-hour work days. And it's nice. Not fully. Some days it's just 90 minutes. Some days it's 3 hours. But I'm just trying to find my pace. I'm trying to find my pace and see what works and what doesn't. So that is the fifth lesson. The sixth lesson is act fast. Meaning, if you want to be more powerful, you want to reduce the time between your idea and execution. That's the thing. You don't want to sit down and think a lot about all the things that you want to do. You want to quickly execute and get stuff done, man. That's what you want to do. If you want more power in your life, personal power, as Tony Robbins put it, you, my friend, need to act fast. I mean, the moment you get your idea, you take out the stuff that needs to be taken out, and then you get it done. I had an idea for a comic or a doodle, take it out, get it done, put it out there. Simple. I have an idea for a video, pick up the camera, take it, shoot it, put it out there, done. Some things require preparation, right? Of course. But what you need to do is cut whatever time, like ask yourself this is an exercise. Okay, you're thinking of a project and you ask yourself, okay, if I had to put a good amount of time to make this project really good, what would that time be? Right, let's say I'm making a YouTube video. This YouTube video would take me 15 to 25 hours. Awesome, great. Then once you get that time, what you do is you cut that time in by 5. You just cut it down by 1/5 of that thing. So if it's 25 hours, 5 4s are 20, 5 5s are 25. It's 5 hours. Yeah, I'm just reciting all the tables I learned as a kid. 5 hours. Do it in 5 hours and see how it goes, right? And even if you do a very shitty first draft version, you would have gotten that thing done. And the beautiful part is, once you've gotten that thing done, you can actually go ahead and make it better right now. It is much, much, much better to do a first draft version, as I like to call it. It's not first draft, it's actually finished, but we call it the first draft. That means it is a thing that can be finished and can be improved later on. So acting fast means doing things faster. Cut the time by 1/5. Right? 1/5 of the time. And that's what you need to do. That is a lesson. The seventh thing that I've learned this year is regarding habits. We all try to form personal habits, at the start of the year or during the time of the year. We all want to build habits of like working out, drawing daily, and, making videos or writing or, like spending time with your family or sleeping early. Right? All these things. We all try to form these habits, and most people go about, including myself, I have done this mistake and I still do this mistake, which is most people go about doing this as a challenge, like a 30-day habit challenge, right? And here's a problem. most of the times when you do those challenges, once that 30 days is over, once that 75 days is over, once that 50 days or 100 days is over, most of the time what happens is people stop doing those habits regularly. I have done multiple habit challenges in my life. I've completed a lot of them and I've failed at a lot of them. And the problem is this: you should not treat it as a thing or a challenge that you only do for a certain period of your time. If you want to cultivate a habit, and by habit, by definition, is something that you actually want to do for a long period of time, for the long term, it's a thing that you want to instill in yourself. And the way you don't go about it is creating a challenge and hoping it will stick by the end of 30 days or end of 66 days. You need to do something before that and something after. This is what I found, which is when you decide to make a habit or create a habit or instill in a habit in yourself, the first thing you need to do is turn into the type of person who does that, or turn your mind into the type of person who does that. Let's say you want to wake up early. This is a problem that I'm having, right? I want to wake up early. And right now, I'm not doing it. Right now, in my mind, I feel like I want to wake up early, but for me, I'm not the kind of person who does that, because I watch TV late at night, or I write later at night. I do some things, planning, thinking, all those things late at night. But the type of person who wakes up early is a person who does not do those things, and gets to bed on time. And once you realize who that person looks like, and once you have a vision of that person, of yourself as that person, Cash, who does not do those things, who wakes up early in the morning and then goes to bed early at night, you just look at that person and see who is that person. Okay, great. This is the person. And then what you do is make a decision, commit, make a decision saying that I will not do certain things. What are the things that are stopping you, and decide to cut them off. The word decision itself comes from the Latin word decidere. I've heard. I'm not a linguist, so don't burn me. Which apparently means to cut things off. Making a decision means cutting other things off so that you singularly focus on one main thing. And that means what are the things you need to cut things, right? Cut off. But here's the problem. It's very hard to cut off a lot of things, right? And you cannot do it quickly. And that's why the thing that you do after comes in, which is you start forming mini habits. There's actually the next lesson, which is mini habits, which is the 8th lesson, which is mini habits are the best way to build habits and the kind of person you want to be. A mini habit is something that only takes you 30 seconds to 60 seconds at most. And then you have it as an elastic version. For example, the 30-second of my waking up or going to bed early habit is just doing a 2 to 3 minute stretch. And that actually puts me in a different state of mind where I'll just turn off all the things that I want to turn off and just go to bed. Or brushing my teeth. It can be that. It takes 30 seconds, 60 seconds. I mean, we need to brush your teeth for 2 minutes. But for me, sometimes it just takes 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Brushing your teeth for 30 seconds. Washing your mouth. Maybe that puts you in a state of mind that will quickly enable you to do the bigger version of the habit, which is turn your TV off, eat early, and then going to bed, doing your nighttime routine if you have one, But it all starts with that small act of doing something very, very minuscule. And that's what I found. If you want to form habits, you have to become the kind of person, decide to commit being that person, and act in the way that person acts by creating yourself a mini habit that you follow. And then you do one of those changes every 6 weeks, right? One mini habit that is elastic that you want to do for 6 weeks. And that is how you actually change things within yourself, instill habits within yourself. And imagine if you do one habit, one mini habit, or if you instill one mini habit every 6 weeks, you have instilled 8 mini habits by the end of the year, and let's assume just only 4 of them or 3 of them stick. Imagine having 3 killer habits. Like you're working out, you wake up early, and you do like 2 to 3 hours of daily deep work. Imagine all those 3 things that would do for your life by the end of the year. And that's amazing, right? So that's how you build habits. So that's what I found. I used to do these habit challenges and it never stuck after that. Or so I used to do these things, like I used to like do habit challenges where I'd meditate every day for like 30 days, 60 days. And then after that, I would just stop meditating, or I would just meditate here and there. And then I just found out that for a habit to form, you need to have the intention of making sure you commit to that particular thing. You become a type of person who does that. You cannot be the old person that you were and do some new things. You have to change into a new person in order to do new things. And the way you become a new person is by committing to actions and behaviors that the new person does. And you have to make those actions and behaviors easy for you to start, because starting something is the most hard part of anything. And once you make that starting part easier, you give yourself room to do more on any given day. And if you can, do more of that. If you can, then just do less. Let's say you just did that 2-minute stretch, but you're not going to bed. Fine, you did it. You did the thing. Do again tomorrow. You try again tomorrow. And that's the best way that I've found, on building habits. This is how you build habits. Simple as that. So 9th one is this, which is a very specific strategy. We're close. We just have one more thing, right? So 9th thing is 90 minutes of deep work on the one thing that you want to do or get done that day, first thing in the morning. That's it. Whatever thing that you want to do, right? Important one thing that you have for the week, important one thing you have for the 6-week block or 6-week season, 6-week cycles. What you do is that take 90 minutes, the first thing in the morning, as part of your workday, whatever, you just do your thing. I'm not talking literally wake up from the bed and just go work. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm actually saying is you wake up and you schedule a block of time before you do anything. And then you get that thing done, hopefully before lunch. 90 minutes. That's all it takes. Just 90 minutes, 2 45-minute blocks of deep, focused work. And that's another thing, right? I've shared this thing everywhere. I have this kitchen timer on my table. I don't have it in my table. That'd be weird if I have it in my table, right? I have it on my table. And whenever I want to do something, press 45 minutes, set the 45-minute timer, press it, and then boom. I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing, right? And I do that first thing in the morning. And even if the rest of the day becomes a chaotic mess, I would have done the main thing for the day. And that's the 9th lesson, my friend. Do the first thing that you want. Do the main thing that you want to do first thing in the morning for 90 minutes, not 95 minutes, 90 minutes. You'll be a killer monster if you do that, right? Now, last lesson, the 10th thing, you might be thinking, man, it's got to be an amazing thing. It's got to be a life-changing lesson. It's the last lesson. No, it's not. It's actually something very, very simple, which is 2-week experiments and 6-month projects. Which is, you don't want to start something so big without experimenting first. And the way you experiment is do these 2-week long experiments. Sometimes it can be just 2-day long experiments, or 5-hour experiments, or 48-hour experiments. But you try doing the thing that you want to do for a week or 2 weeks, and then decide to commit to something that is longer. And I've done this mistake over and over and over again, like even for 75 hard. I'm not doing 75 hard right now because I just realized it's not the thing that I need to be doing. But I've said on the channel, I'm going to do 75 hard, right? But I didn't do 75 hard because after 12 or 14 days, I just realized that what is the point of me suffering for things that doesn't matter? Like it doesn't matter if I work out twice a day, to be honest. I think I feel much better in my life if I just work out once a day. And if I take some more breaks, And if I don't have to read, reading 10 pages a day was very, very good. But a couple of other things did not make sense. And I had to actually do my own version of 75 hard, which is basically just focusing on one habit per 6 weeks, or one change that I want to do or want to make every 6 weeks. And you have to approach it from that perspective. One core identity change that I want to make that 6 weeks, and you call yourself that, you say it out loud, you tell yourself that, you basically brainwash yourself. And people think brainwashing is a bad thing. It's not. Right? It's not. The thing is, you're the easiest person to. Richard Feynman, right? I think he said that, right? He said, I'm paraphrasing the quote, but it goes something like, don't fool yourself, and you're the easiest person to fool, right? So you have to be careful with this thing. But at the same time, do note that everything that you believe, everything you know, has a counter argument that makes it untrue. Every deep core beliefs that you have, right? This has a counter argument that makes it untrue. Then that means most of the things that we actually believe is something that is only resourceful for us. And we have basically either let the environment around us, the society around us, brainwash ourselves into believing that. So then at that point comes a choice where you say to yourself, okay, what do I believe, right? And then why don't I just believe the things that are useful for me? Of course, you don't want to be a mentally insane person. I know I used to believe a lot of things. And to be honest, there are counter arguments to those things, to those beliefs that were true, right? That makes my beliefs untrue. And it goes the same way, again, around those things as well. So at the end of the day, then all comes down to like, everything is just bullcrap or bullshit, to put it in a very easy way. And you just choose the thing that you want to believe. And I brainwash myself, into believing those things. Okay, for 6 weeks, I am going to be this type of person. I'm going to tell myself that. I'm going to affirm myself that through my own actions, not just shout into the mirror. Don't do that. I mean, you can do that, but I affirm myself that. A recent thing that happened, right? I'm just digressing, by the way, at this point. A recent thing that happened was we did something and did not go the way we expected it on day one. Then I asked myself, am I a winner or a loser? What would a loser do? A loser would do this. Whenever he sees failure, he would just quit. He would just get disappointed. He would just get sad. But what would a winner do? A winner, a winning cash, a winning version of cash, a cash with a winner mindset. He doesn't have to win necessarily, but if he has a winner mindset, a growth mindset, what would he do? And I asked myself, okay, he would not just give up. He would actually go and figure out all the things that he could do that are within his control, and he would do that. And we know what happened? The thing that we thought was a failure was actually a success. We did a whole bunch of little, tiny things within the next hour, and it changed. The thing that we thought was a success changed. And it was amazing. It was such an amazing lesson, right? At that point, oh boy, I can do this. I don't have to be the person that I tell myself to be, or society forces me to be, or society tells you to be. Everyone believes in things that they don't understand, that has been instilled by either accidentally or by other things, or by themselves through their own experiences. And beautiful thing is you can question these things and put things in that are useful to you. You can choose. You have a choice. And that was such an amazing experience when that happened, when we turned what we thought was a failure into success. So the lesson learned at that point was, you will feel crappy, you will feel shitty, but you do it. You become the person. A winner is not a person who doesn't face challenges. A winner is not a person who is mean. A winner is not a person who never loses. A winner is a person who always tries, who always does things, who always, in face of adversity, you just go out and do the things that are within his control. That's a winning cash. I'm just talking about myself. That's what what would a winner version of cash look like? And you need to make that identity change. And you instill that identity change by using a small mini habit, a mental habit set sometimes, like this. Like a question that you ask yourself when a situation happens. And that situation is a trigger for you to ask that question. And when you ask that question, you need to practice becoming that person, or you need to act in ways that person would act. And there are things you don't want to commit for a long period of time without having experimented with that thing. You don't want to commit to an identity without knowing what that identity fully entails. So that's why it's important for you to before making all these grand changes in life, try it out for 2 weeks. Try it out for 2 days, maybe 2 weeks. Even 2 weeks is actually long for me, to be honest. I think it's like 2 days. Try it out for 2 days. Do you like doing it for 2 days or 3 days? 3 is a good number, actually. 3 is like, habit forming number. Like most people can do something for 2 days. 3 days, yeah. After 3 days, we'll see how it goes, right? So do it for 3 days. Get a feel for it. What do you like? What do you don't like, right? Get a feel for it. And then what you do is commit to the thing for a longer period of time. And the lesson that I've learned that was don't commit to things that is going to take 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years of your time, if you haven't even tried it, if you haven't even experimented with it. Maybe there are exceptions in life where you just jump into the thing and just get done and do it anyway. Those are good things. But I found that if you just experiment with it first, basically date before you marry, man. That's it. Go on a date. Go on a couple of dates before you make the decision. Just don't jump into, marrying someone on day one, would you? So you want to go on a couple of dates and then make that decision later on. And once you make that decision, you bloody well stick with it. You stick with it, you commit, you see that thing through. Become a man of your word. And those are all the lessons that I've learned this year. And these 10 things are the changes that I've made in my own life. And it's been extremely helpful. So if you have found any of these things useful for you, give it a try. Try it for 2 weeks, right? Don't have to make the jump immediately. Try it for 2 weeks. Try it for 2 days. See what works. See what doesn't work. And then you change. You make it your own. Take what's useful and discard what is not, like Bruce Lee said. So do that, man. That's the thing. That's what I want. Another beautiful lesson that I've learned, bonus lesson. I love doing these podcasts. I love doing these videos. Talking about random stuff every single week for 20 to 30 minutes and just sharing all the things that I know, sharing my journey. And a lot of you are liking it. And to be honest, I'm not doing it for that purpose. I'm just doing it because I just like doing this. I just want to use this opportunity to think clearly, talk better, tell you a story, practice my storytelling skills, and at the same time clarify my thoughts so that I can be a better person and document my journey. This is a journey, and this is the easiest way that I'm using to document my journey, which just takes 20 to 30 minutes a week. How cool is that? I just record this thing, someone from my team edits it, and then they take an hour. But for me, it's just 20 to 30 minutes. I do this thing with my newsletter as well. What are like 10 to 20 minute weekly time investments that could change your life drastically? It's amazing. It's amazing what you can do in an hour or 2 hours in a week. What are those investments that you could make for the next year that could change your life? Just 10 minutes, 20 minutes a week, 30 minutes a week, an hour a week, at most, 2 hours at most. What are those investments that would change your life? That's a question that is worth asking. So, thank you so much for listening to my ramblings for the past couple of months. I've been doing this every week, and I'll be doing this more. I'll be continuing to do this thing every week, and appreciate you spending your time with me, your valuable time. And you're probably drawing or walking or doing something else while you're listening to this. And I hope you had a good time. And make sure you just take one or two of these things and try it for a day or two, and then change, because all of these things are useless if you don't apply them, and that's not actually a good thing. If you just consume but don't create, there's so many other lessons which I want to talk about. But that's the thing, my friend. Thank you so much. Drop a mountain emoji down below if you listen to all this. Not a mountain. Let's make it a different one. How about a bicycle emoji? Any bicycle, right? I just like doing these emoji things. It's fun, right? All right. This is with your thoughts. What answer that question and then, drop a bicycle emoji. All right. See you. Have a lovely, lovely, lovely 2015. Not 2015. What? Have a lovely, lovely 2025. Have an awesome year ahead. I wish you the very best. I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. I want you to get all the things you want in life. And as a result, maybe after that, you'll figure out what the meaning of all these things are. And I really hope you get and do all the things that you want, so you truly realize what you actually want to realize or what you need to realize. And I wish you that. I wish you all the success. Have an awesome 2025. I love you. See you. Bye-bye.